because
Yeah,
the
yeah.
recording just Okay.
You allow
So
everyone.
Yes, sir. I allowed everyone, sir.
Okay, then you just start with the beginning slide and then you can skip little bit.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
yeah.
Good morning to all. Myself Shiraz Nitture. Today I would like to present my PhD presentation in front of you. Thank you for joining me. My name of my thesis topic is Study of Photochemical Process in Fluorescence Organic Molecules. I'm doing my PhD under the guidance of Dr. B. Siddhalingeshwar, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, MS Ramesh Technology. So these are the contents of my thesis work. So first we study about the photophysical processes of organic molecules. And these are the various excited processes explained by Perrin Jablinski, like intersystem crossing, intersystem crossing, internal conversion, and fluorescence, phosphorescence, which all I will explain in my next slides. So these are the photochemical processes which are involved in the uh, de-excitation of the fluorescent molecules, organic molecules, light matter interaction. So these are the types of electronic transitions like pi to pi star, n to pi star, and sigma to sigma star transitions, and they are arranged in their increasing. The energy gap is different in different electron transitions. So these are the characteristics properties of the fluorescence emission, like Stokes shift, quantum Field, lifetime, and fluorescence benching. And these fluorescence characteristics are significantly affected by the solvent effect. So this is the main thing we cover in our thesis topic, where we study the solvent effect on the photophysical properties of organic molecules. In solvent effect, there are some general solvent effect and some specific solid-solid interactions are there. We can see the pH effect, we can see the viscosity effect, we can see the some internal charge transfer state formation followed by the twist in some of the portion of the molecules that is called as TICT. All these factors which affect the fluorescence emission. So fluorescent molecules, any molecule, any fluorophore is a chemical compound which can re-emit after absorbing the light when it undergoes deactivation. So some of the molecules, fluorophores, are absorbed in the UV region and they emit in the visible region. So this emission energy gives a very important information about the molecules and its surrounding environment. That's why fluorescent phenomenon forms a very important technical tool in various studies. Fluorescent molecules are generally aromatic molecules where pi-pi conjugations are helpful in shifting the emission peak. Some linear aromatic hydrocarbons are like naphthalene, coumarin, anthracene, and benzene derivatives are there. Usually, polar fluorophore molecules are affected by the solvent polarity. So we selected benzoathrone derivatives and coumarin derivatives. As we know, the benzoathrone derivatives are highly solvent sensitive and they emit in green to red region. We can see some of the applications of benzoathrone derivatives in nonlinear optics, molecular electronics, biochemical fluorescent technology, solar cell, and they are used as a dye laser, polymer textiles, and daylight fluorescent pigments also. Coumarin derivatives are also we have used in our work. Coumarin derivatives are highly solvent sensitive and they are widely applicable in fluorescent technology. The push-pull systems are there, like they have a donor and acceptor. If they are substituted, they can form push-pull systems. They can use it in dye-sensitive solar cell also to increase the efficiency of the solar cell. Optical brightness, nonlinear optical chromophores, solid-state lighting devices, biomakers in life sciences, and photodynamic therapy. In all these, we can use coumarin derivatives. And to support our experiment, we have also tried to find the experimental results, try to mimic the experimental result by using quantum chemical calculations. Quantum chemical calculations are the theoretical methods. With the help of that, we can calculate so many photophysical properties of an organic molecule theoretically without doing any experiment. There are so many methods are available, so many basis sets are available. A little bit time consuming, but they can be done easily by sitting in home without traveling too much, and they give the accurate results. Even they are we can predict some new molecules with the help of quantum chemical calculations. Objectives of my work: first, testing of the solubility of these analytes in different solvents. Next, the fluorescent characteristics of the molecules are very useful in sensing activities. And in the view of this, what I have done is I have studied the solvent effect on the fluorescent molecules, and also I have used quantum chemical techniques methods to supplement the experimental results. So in experimental details, I have used these fluorescent molecules. We have obtained these molecules from Dr. Elena M. Kirilova, Department of Chemistry, Dagopolis University, Latvia. So these are our molecules. This is the first benzothione derivatives that we named it as 3P4HBDA. This is the second one. Here it is methyl substituted. Methyl substitution is placed here. And in my next molecule, phenyl substitution is there. In my next, chlorophenyl substitution is there. These four series of molecules having benzothione group, piperazine group, and some substitution. So it helped me to find the substitution effect on the photochemical properties. And next, I have used these two coumarin derivatives. Here you can see one donor and one acceptor which is substituted from push-pull system. And I have studied its photophysical properties theoretically and computationally, experimentally and computationally. So, for our work, we have obtained all the solvents of HPLC grade from SD Finchem Limited, Mumbai, and we have used without any further purification. To calculate the quantum yield of solute in various solvents, I have used a reference sample whose name is given here, whose quantum yield is 0.15. This I obtained from literature, this work was done by my guide, Dr. V. Siddhalingeshwar. And all the solutions were prepared by maintaining a fixed concentration of solute, and solution concentrations were varied from 10 to the minus 4 to 10 to the minus 6 molite. And all the solutions are homogeneous and clear. They are prepared fresh and preserved in dark. So during my work, I have used the following instrumentation. I have measured absorption spectra using JASCO spectrophotometer, whose model is model V670. And I have measured all the emission spectra using fluorolog 3 spectrophotometer, that is Horina Jobin Yuan. I used this instrument in BRC Mumbai, where I stayed around 6 months during my research work, and I measured all my experimental work in BRC Mumbai only. And I have measured the lifetime of the samples by using the instrument TCSPC instrument, that is time correlated single photon counting system, that is spectrophlorimeter Horiba Jevin Yuan UK. It is in nanoscale range. And in some of the molecules, lifetime was very low, in some picoseconds to femtosecond range. So I have used fluorescence upconversion technique there in BRC only, whose model is 400 CDP correlation, which is Moscow. In theoretical details, I have used a few equations. There is Lippert-Mataga equation, which helped me to calculate the study of solvent effect, general solvent effect on solid molecules. From there, this is Stokes, and these are the Lippert polarity function. And I can calculate the excited change in the dipole moment after excitation of the molecule. To know the specific solid-solid interactions, I have used a few equations: linear solution energy relationship concept, that is Kartensky equation, and Comrade-Abbott-Taft equation. And this is relative permittivity and refractive index equation. Here you can see Stokes is plotted with polarity parameter, dielectric polarizability, and ET30 is there, which gives us the specific solid interaction. Separately from this equation, we calculate the involvement of solid-solid interactions. And also here preferential solution study is also done in some of my work, where I have calculated the selective solution is called as preferential solution. If a solute is selectively soluted by the solvent mixture here, then it is called as preferential solution. These are the equations. And these are the few equations which I will explain in my result and discussion part. So quantum yield I calculated using this equation, that is energy ratio of energy emitted to the total energy absorbed, where the absorption, fluorescence intensity, and refractive index by using all this sample and standard, that reference sample I told, by using that ratio I can calculate. These are KR and KNR are calculated using this. And in results and discussion part, this is my first work, that is photophysics of 3P4HBDA. This is the structure of the molecule. I have used nearly 11 solvents. Some are non-polar, some are polar aprotic, and some are polar protic. With increase in its dipolarity and refractive index, I have selected the set of solvents to know the detailed study of the solvent effect on the photophysical properties of the benzothione derivative. So this is the absorption spectra, this is the emission spectra. We can see in absorption spectra that with increase in delta F, we can see there is a small shift in the peak with increase in delta F. But in emission spectra, we can see this is in cyclohexane, and this one is in methanol. From cyclohexane to methanol, we can see there is a prominent shift in the lambda maximum, emission wavelength maximum, with increase in delta F. This shows that there is a solvent effect. In highly polar solvent, it is shifting. This is called Stokes shift. Okay, with respect to absorption is in 450 range, it is in 600 range. This is called a Stokes shift. I have plotted the graph of Stokes shift versus delta F. We can see here in non-polar solvents it is little less, but with increase in polarity, the Stokes shift is linearly increasing. From cyclohexane to slightly polar, it suddenly increases, then it linearly increases. In polar protic solvents, we can see higher Stokes shift values. This shows that the excited state is still stabilized to lower energy. It may be due to hydrogen bonding formation with the polar solvents. So that also I have calculated quantum yield, and I plotted quantum yield versus Lippert function. Here quantum yield is high in non-polar. When we move to non-polar to slightly polar, we can see reduction in its quantum yield. suddenly it decreases linearly with delta F. In polar protic, again quantum yield is still lower. What I have done, I have used esternitrile and methanol. Both have same Lippert polarity parameter, but their quantum yield is very different. In this protic solvent, quantum yield is low, and in no protic solvent is little high compared to protic solvent. This shows that in protic solvent there is an involvement of hydrogen bonding. Due to that, there is an extra sterilization of the excited state. So here I have measured lifetime also in polar, non-polar and polar protic. You can see the 8 to 10 nanosecond range of lifetime I can get. But in polar protic solvent, the lifetime goes to the lower state. Lifetime decreases up to 2 to 3 nanoseconds. So this reduction in the lifetime in polar protic solvent shows that there is a non-radiative deactivation of the excited state, S1 state of the molecule. So these are the lifetime graphs. All graphs of lifetime graphs are single single exponential decay kinetic graph I obtained. Okay, square is 1. So these are the, to know the excited state deactivation of the molecule, I have calculated Kr and Knr values. In Kr values, it is in 10 to the power of 9 range. In Kr values, I can see the slight reduction when delta F is increased. Similar trend is followed in aprotic and protic solvents. But in KNR values, we can see in aprotic solvents, you cannot see any large change. But in protic solvents, sudden increase in the KNR values, we can see. It means due to hydrogen bonding, there is an ICT state formation takes place, followed by the non-radioactive relaxation of deactivation of the excited state molecule to the ground state. Similarly, I use Comlet-Aburtov scale, and this is the table which explains clear. This bracketed term will give you the percentage contribution of hydrogen bond donor ability, hydrogen bond acceptability, and non-specific interaction. From this table, it is clear that there is a general solvent effect as well as specific solvent effect is involved. And I have also calculated dipole moment using Salutogen shift method, that is 2.93 ground state dipole moment, this is excited state dipole moment, and this is the ratio. There is an increase in the dipole moment when molecule goes to excited state. This shows that there is a reorientation of the solid molecules around the solid molecules due to extra stabilization. The dipole moment of the molecule has increased, which can be due to the redistribution of the charge in the excited state, and which we can see clearly in the resonance structures of the molecules. Also, we have studied preferential solution study. Preferential solution study shows that the molecule is selectively soluted by the, we have taken binary solid mixture. Ethanol and DMSO solid mixture we have used here. In benzene and DMSO mixture we have used here. In both cases, we can see there is a clear deviation of the graph of mu1 to with x2. This shows that there is preferential solution. We have calculated preferential solution index also. We got positive value that shows that the molecule is soluted by the second solvent, that is DMSO, and no synergetic effect is observed here. This shows that there is a preferential solution exists in our molecule. Molecule prefers to solvated by the DMSO, not by ethanol, because ethanol forms cluster and DMSO is in monomeric form. That's why DMSO more solvates the solid compared to the ethanol. So this is further to know the dielectric enrichment effect, non-dielectric effect, and specific solvent effect. We have Sopwith theory. We have this Onsager polarity function is plotted with respect to polar component. You can see a clear deviation from linearity, which shows the non-ideal behavior of the solid in both the cases. And 1 by delta E versus Xn by Xp is plotted. Delta E means it is a peak energy shift relative to the non-polar format. The theory tells that if this data deviates from linearity, this clearly shows that in preferential solution there is an involvement of hydrogen bonding. Computationally, we try to explain the structural change in the molecule, like geometric change in the molecule due to solvent effect. We have divided the molecule into several bonds from CC1 to CC20, and this nitrogen part and carbon part are named separately. And we have used B3LP 6311 plus GDP method for the optimization of the molecule and calculation of it. In our plot, we can clearly see that the bond lengths are plotted with respect to the shortening and elongation of the bond. We can see from this is in DMSO, this is in ETOH. There is a clear change in the bond length values of the molecules. This is ground state and this is excited state one. And also here we can see that molecule is in gas phase DMSO and ETOH. We can see this graph here. You can see there is a clear change when we gas phase to solid phase. There is a clear change in the bond length. This shows that the geometry of the molecule is affected by the solvent, and we can see differences in the graphs. So these are the HOMO-LUMO graphs. The HOMO highest occupied molecular orbital and lowest occupied molecular orbital graphs can clearly show that when molecule is excited, there is a electron redistribution in the molecules. So this is the first paper we have published in Springer. This work is published in this journal. Next, the study of photophysical properties of methyl PBA. Here, one thing is that this methyl is substituted to this piperazine part. This is the Benzene ring. I have calculated dipole moment using few selective data to get the linearity. This value I got as 4.3 diopter. This is its Amsega radius. Here I have used nearly 17 set of solvents to get a clear idea of substitution effect on the solid molecule. I have used a few non-polar, few polar protic and few polar aprotic solvents. 17 solvents are used. We can see this peak shift. There is a less peak shift in absorption spectra. It is influenced less by the solvent effect. In emission peak, I can see a clear shift from cyclohexane to methanol. The emission maxima gradually shifts with increase in the polarity, which we can see in the Stokes situation delta F. Here suddenly it increases, it linear follows. In polar protic solvents, again it is higher as usual. This is due to hydrogen bonding. In quantum yield also we can see here it linearly decreases. And in polar protic, again different excited state behavior can be seen in quantum yield. Lower quantum yield are obtained in polar protic solvents. That is due to the hydrogen bond formation and IST state formation. At lifetime also it remains same as usual in earlier work, but in polar protic solvent we can see there is a clear decrease in the lifetime values with increase in delta F, and even these values are less compared to the aprotic solvents. This is acetonitrile, this is methanol. In methanol, lifetime is low compared to the acetonitrile. Both have same delta F, but their lifetime is different. This shows that in protic solvents, the excited state deactivation follows the non-reductive transition. These are the lifetime curves. These are KR and KNR values. We can see in KNR, again, there is a slight increase. There's a large increase in the KNR values, shows that non-reactive deactivated channel is activated here. And also, what we have done to know the behavior of the molecule in protic and aprotic solvents, we have selected two binary solid mixture. One is ethyl acetate methanol, then one is ethyl acetate estanol. Why I have taken this means methanol and estanol have same delta F values, liquid polarity parameter. That's why I've selected these binary solid mixtures. When I gradually add acetate and ethyl acetate, I can see linear increase in the decrease in the relative quantum yield. Here in methanol, ethyl acetate, suddenly when I add methanol, suddenly it decreases. There's a sudden decrease. This shows that small addition is sufficient, and due to hydrogen bonding, its quantum yield is increased more comparatively in this case. Similarly, lifetime also shows the same thing. This shows that hydrogen bonding effect is prominent in polar protic solvents. This is KNR graph. Computationally, I have optimized the structure using BTLP61 plus GDP method, and these are the homologous structures. And next, phenyl PP. Here, phenyl substituted. Instead of methane, methyl, it is phenyl substituted. Phenyl is hydrophobic in nature, and the different behavior of the molecule is observed in our work. Similarly, I have same set of 17 solvents here. Here, what one main difference is, we can see the red shift in polar aprotic solvent. But when I move to polar protic solvents like methanol, ethanol, and butanol, propanol solvents, we can see blue shift relative to the polar aprotic solvents like acetonitrile and TMSO. So this blue shift I explain in my next slides. Here you can see Stokes shift here linearly increases and again increases here, but you can see a decrease in the Stokes shift value with increase in delta F. Okay, so this is a blue shift relative to these things. This is explained by the hydrophobic nature of the phenyl group. What happens in protic solvents? Phenyl group inhibits itself from solvation from the polar components. So that's why there is a less stabilization of the excited state. So that's why the in polar protic solvents molecule comes to the ground state from the higher energy state. So its lambda emission values are less compared to the aprotic solvents. Quantum yield, in case of quantum yield, what happens in quantum yield decreases gradually, and in protic and aprotic solvents quantum yield is very low, and even lifetime also. Here what I can see, suddenly there is a slight increase in lifetime, but again it decreases. In aprotic and protic, both the solvents lifetime is very low. It is in picosecond range, like 0.001, 0.002 nanoseconds, like that it will go. And these are the single decay kinetic graphs of lifetime values. And I have, these are the to measure the lifetime in picosecond, we have used fluorescence upconversion method, and these are their plots in protic and protic solvents. To know the excited state deactivation of the molecule, we have measured KR and KNR values. And KR graphs, we can see the same trend in aprotic and protic solvents, but in KNR values, we can see this sudden increase in the KNR values. KNR values suddenly increases. This shows that non-radioactive decay channel was activated and molecule undergo deactivation via following the non-reactive deactivation. It means it emits from the lower energy states. So the relative quantum yield, same behavior I can see here. In a solvent, binary solid mixture, what happens? Molecule is stabilized. Like when I move from ethanol to methanol, its lifetime is gradually decreasing. Even here in Stokes shift, relative quantum yield is also decreasing. And when I take the Stokes shift is increasing with increasing delta F in solvent mixtures. It means molecules stabilized due to the solvent polarity effect. So this is explained by different solvation mechanism involved in this case. Here in solvent mixture, what happens? The ethyl acetate solvates the phenyl group and polar component methanol solvates the benzothrone group. These two solvation mechanisms stabilizes the molecule to the lower excited state. That's why we can see red shift with increase in solvent polarity in binary solvent mixture. But in pure solvents, we can see the blue shift relative to ethyl acetate. That is due to the hydrophobic phenyl nature. Here, solvation mechanism are explained in two ways. First one, what happens? The energy transfer from this piperazine group, partly after excitation, part energy transfer to the phenyl group and part of energy transfer to the benzothrone group. But in earlier case, it was directly transferred to the benzothrone group. So that's why there is a different excited states formation. And next one, what happens during the deactivation of the molecule? This phenyl group undergo a torsional rotation with respect to this piperazine group. And after rotating, there is a pipe stacking between the benzothrone group and the phenyl group. Due to these two different solution methods, the molecule behavior differently in its excited state. To confirm the non-radiative decay channel, which are non-radiative deactivation of the molecule during the deactivation, we have that TICT state is formed. So to confirm the twisted intermolecular charge transfer state formation, we have used one more technique, that is methanol glycerol solid mixture we have used, and we have measured its lifetime and quantum yield in this solid mixture. When we move from methanol to glycerol, what happens? The lifetime and quantum yield are found to be increasing. For both the molecules, we have done this experiment. In methyl PBA, we can see there is an increase in the quantum yield as well as lifetime. In phenyl PBA, the increase in the lifetime and quantum yield is 5 times, 5-fold it increases. Actually, what happens in this solid mixture? When polarity is increased, lifetime and quantum yield should decrease. But here, both are increasing. This is the reverse trend. This mainly because of the solvent viscosity effect. Due to the increase in the viscosity, what happens? There is a prohibition of the twisted intermolecular charge transfer, because the TICT formation takes place with large amplitude motion. Large amplitude motion is prohibited due to solvent viscosity. That's why there is a less stabilization of the molecule and increase in quantum yield and lifetime is seen. So this is a clear evidence for the formation of TICT state. So these are the computational work where molecule is optimized using B3LYP6311 plus GDP method and their homogeneous structures are given. So this work is published in Royal Chemical Society, Chemical and Photobiological Sciences. So next slide, I move to chlorophenyl PBA. We have done this work to supplement the to give evidence for the previous work, because I have used a single molecule here, chlorophenyl substituted. So what happened? I have used the same set of solvents here, 17 solvents I have used. I got the same results here, same behavior I have got. Here in aprotic, polar protic solvents, I see blue shift. In polar aprotic solvent, I have seen the red shift. Here I have taken separate graphs to explain that blue shift. Here this is the methanol and this is propanol. I can see the blue shift here. And same Stokes shift plot. Same, I got the quantum yield also decreased. Lifetime is also decreased. KNR, KR values are also behaved in the same way. Same solution mechanism I have used here. So this shows that the phenyl substitution and chlorophenyl substitution are after substituting, TICT state is forming, and there is a torsional rotational phenyl group is rotating and pipe stacking is forming. And this work is also an evidence for that. And also in all these work computationally, I have calculated absorption maxima, emission energy, like TDFT method, TDDFT method I have used, polarizable quantum model I have used. I have measured absorption energy, emission energy. I have measured all the solvent effect here. I got the comparable results with the experiment. So this work I have published in elsewhere, spectrochemical acta parte, molecular and biomolecular spectroscopy. And in my last work, what I have done is I have intermolecular charge transfer and photoinduced electron transfer studied using experimental and computational method. In my first part, I have used coumarin derivatives, that is 3-cyano-7-hydroxycoumarin and 7-amino-4-methyl-3-chromolastic acid, and I have studied its solvent effect theoretically and experimentally. In my next work, I used octoethyl porphyrin and nitrofluorine donor acceptor composition, and I tried to mimic the experimental results done by Mihir Ghosh computationally, and we have shown that there is a photoinduced electron transfer when molecule, the transfer of electron from the donor to the acceptor part. So this is our CHC and MCH molecule. Solvent effects are studied in detail. And Carmelite about Taft method is used to find the contribution of hydrogen bond donor and acceptabilities of the solvent and non-specific contribution. You can clearly see bracketed term indicates the percentage contribution, clearly shows that general solute and so specific solute interactions are present. Preferential solution studies were also done by in esternitrile dioxane solvent, and the molecule is found to be soluted by esternitrile in both the cases, and synergetic effect is found here. It means the emission energy in the solvent mixture is less than the single solvents. There is a synergetic effect I have seen here. So this is the table which gives you the various emission energies in various solvent composition. So these are the graphs which shows that the preferential solution is exist. And computationally, what we have done, we have divided the molecule into several parts, named their bonds, and this is the acceptor part, this is donor part, this is carbonyl part, ring 1 and ring 2, we have divided like that in both the molecules, and we have obtained the graphs like this. We can see that dioxane and esternitrile, red is esternitrile. In esternitrile, the bond elongation and shortening is different compared to dioxane. Different bonds are affected. Solvent effect is clearly seen in both the graphs. First, we have measured in brown state. Next, we have measured in excited state. Next, we have measured exact TDDFT calculations we have done in gas phase in both the solvent phase. And we can see there is a change in both the molecules. These are the homolymostructures of the molecules. And we have published this paper in Wiley Illuminations Journal. And this is the last work, that is the intermolecular photoinduced electron transfer in non-covalent octoethyl porphyrin and 2-nitrofluorine donor acceptor system by computational method. This is the donor, this is the acceptor, octoethyl porphyrin. This is its experiment work is done by Mihir Ghosh. He is one of our co-worker who work in Shantiniketan Institute, Pashchim Bengal. So here, this is the optimized structure of the molecules. So this is the optimized structure of that acceptor part. We have used WB97XD and 631 GDP method. So we find this one comfortable for this complex structure. And this is the spatial configuration of the donor and acceptor. This is the energy level diagram with homolymostructures. This is the donor structure, this is energy level 2.95. This is the acceptor one, whose energy level gap is 2.82. And this is homolymostructure. And these are the homolymostructures. We can see homolymo gap is nearly same. Here you can see this is electron density. Here is no electron density. This is the acceptor part. When goes to the excited state, this energy density is transferred. So this shows that there is a photon-rich electron transfer state. And also we have calculated the absorption energy in various singlet excited state. We compared this with that experimental, because this structure is also verified to experimental results. The experimental bonds, solid bonds S1, S2, S3 energies are incomparable with this complex state. So this clearly agreed with the experimental results. Like that, we have given evidence for the photon-induced electron transfer computationally. This paper we have published with Mihir Ghosh in Journal of Molecular Liquids elsewhere. These are the, so finally I conclude my work. I have done the solvent effect influence on the first benzene molecule 3P4HBDA, and I find intermolecular charge transfer state very solvent sensitive. It emits in green to red region. And also I have studied, along with the solvent effect, I find substituent effect also very important to study. And that's why we have substituted methyl and phenyl group to that benzene core, piperazine benzene core. And we got a very interesting result of twisted intermolecular charge transfer state formation in phenyl PBA molecule, and ICT state exists in both the molecules. And also chlorophenyl molecules have also got the same result, which once again confirmed the behavior of phenyl PBA molecule. And we also studied the solvent effect on coumarin derivatives. Coumarin derivatives are having, they find vast application in fluorescent technology. And we believe that our molecule is also highly solvent sensitive. It can also for very much applications in fluorescent, developing fluorescent technologies, because the fluorescence quenching studies is also can be done in future work, and their binding constant and binding efficiencies with DNA and other things can be explored in our future work. Computationally, we have studied the proton photon-induced electron transfer, and we have got a very interesting result, and results are in good agreement with the experimental results. These are the references. And so I have attended various conferences and workshops during my research work. These are the lists of conferences and workshops attended, and I presented poster in some of the workshops. So finally, I would like to express my gratitude, my thankful to Dr. B. Siddhalingeshwar, my guide, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, MSRIT, Bangalore. Without his support, encouragement, it would have not been possible to do this kind of work. And I would also like to thankful to HOD and faculty, Department of Physics, MSRT. They have supported during all my research work. They have motivated throughout the entire course of my PhD work. I would like to thank especially to Dr. Anup Thomas, Assistant Professor, C. Chitra Tiruna College of Engineering, Pappan Trivandrum. He is a computational expert. He had done his PhD in ICT Hyderabad, and because of him only, I got a clear understanding of the computational, whatever I have understood computational from Dr. Anup Thomas only. And Dr. Mihir Ghosh, as I said, he studied in India. He's a postdoc student. He's doing postdoc in Israel, but he was research student in Integrated Science Education Research Center, Vishwa Bharati Shantiniketan. We have shared one of our work of PET with Mihir Ghosh. I'm very much thankful to Mihir Ghosh. And also, I have done all my experiments in BRC Mumbai. I'm thankful to my guide in BRC Mumbai, Dr. Sukhendu Nath, senior scientist, Baba Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. And also, I am thankful to Dr. Rajiv Bose. He is also senior scientist, BRC Mumbai. Both helped me to understand and to do experimental work sufficient well in BRC campus. And I am also thankful to Indian Academy of Science, Bangalore. Because of them only, I am able to go to BRC and do my work. I got the summer research fellowship from the Indian Academy of Science in during 2 years, 2 months, like 4 to 6 months I spent there. And I am also thankful to Commissioner, Department of Pre-University Education, Bangalore. They have given me permission to pursue my PhD during my work. And thank you very much. Thank you to all for attending my PhD Viva. Thank you very much. With this, I conclude.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you have presented nicely.
Thank you,
I
sir.
have few questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, first about these molecules, you have studied different types of the molecules. I mean, the first part, the molecules you have studied, those are mainly the synthesized one, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I mean,
sir.
the parent molecule, what that benzoanthracene, right?
Yes, sir. Benjantron
That's the parent molecule. Then you substituted different, derivatives or the groups onto that, and then you
Yes, sir.
study that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, but
Yes, sir.
in the second part, suddenly you have chosen some commercial molecules, right? Like the nitrofluorine and porphyrin, those kind of. So, what is the correlation between these two sets of molecules? One that you synthesized, another is that
No,
commercial
sir.
one.
Sir, Benjantron derivatives are not synthesized by me. We have got these molecules from Dr. Elena Kirilova, Dagopolis University,
Okay.
Latvia. We have studied
Uh-huh.
their photophysical properties, solvent and all those things. And
So,
this after.
synthesis part was done by some other. I mean,
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have not done any kind of synthesis. I have only studied the solvent effect on the photophysical properties of organic molecules.
Okay, okay. No, but then why that is the other part that in which you have studied the intermolecular photo-induced electron transfer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
These set of molecules are very different from the
Yes,
first
sir.
set of molecules, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what is the motivation or what is the correlation between these molecules to choose? Why not
Actually,
other molecules?
yes, sir. No, sir. These are two separate set of experiments. First, I have done Benjantron derivatives. I have during the detailed study of the photophysical properties, I find
Yeah.
interest in studying the internal charge transfer and like how that mechanism takes place. During my work, I met with Mihir Ghosh and he was doing the experimental study on the uptithyl porphyrin and 2-nitrofluorine. So what I have done, during that time computationally I was sufficient. I have sufficient knowledge. So I just mimicked his experimental work. I have not done experimental work. That's why I have not added in my thesis part also.
Okay.
His experimental work I have reproduced it computationally and given evidence for that. My interest, my motivation is that to know computationally how that that photo-induced electron transfer takes place. That only I have this. My motivation is that entirely photophysical studies are very interesting and they are very
Correct.
helpful in.
So for to that, the first set of molecules, one that synthesized one that, that benzoanthracene, that set of the molecule you could have taken to study the proton transfer or the electron
Yes, sir.
transfer.
Yes, sir.
So in that, have you tried to do this kind of study or no, it was not possible in those kind of molecules?
In Benjamin derivatives, I have not tried the photo-induced electron transfer, sir. I have not tried. I find ICT intermolecular charge transfer I have studied, but that work I have not done. I
Okay.
only studied solvent effect.
Yeah.
Maybe in future, I may try.
Yeah. That would be interesting to extend this
Yes, sir.
work. I
Thank you, sir.
mean, so it would be better to study that in detail, actually.
Yes, sir.
Uh, that proton transfer, electron transfer, and all the excited state charge transfer processes, one could study in that actually. Just so far, you have just studied the solvation process.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
dipole moment and all these things you
Yes,
calculated,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, one could extend the study, I mean, to do that. Other than that, in these molecules, you studied the solvation process, but what about the solvation dynamics? Have you ever thought of doing solvation dynamics also of these molecules?
Solve.
Dynamical process, I mean, in the excited
Yes, sir.
state, that dynamics of the solvation.
Yes,
Means
sir.
that
Yes,
will be in picosecond to femtosecond time scale.
yes, sir. Yes,
It's very fast.
yes,
It's
sir. It
ultra
is.
fast in some cases.
Yes, sir. Ultra fast deactivation is there.
Yeah. Have you thought about doing that actually? Because the instrumentation you have used, that the fluorescence of conversion,
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
using that technique, it is possible to study the excited state
Yes.
solvation dynamics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's possible
Actually-
because that actually what was the resolution of that fluorescence of conversion setup you used?
What's
What was the time resolution?
100 picosecond to femtosecond range, sir.
100 picosecond or femtosecond?
In picosecond range only I got the lifetime value, sir. But its range was from picosecond to femtosecond, that instrument range.
The resolution minimum. What is the resolution? I mean, time resolution of the setup. What is the
From
minimum lifetime we could study with that?
femtosecond, sir. Picosecond to
Femtosecond.
femtosecond. Haan, sir.
Means what? 100 femtosecond, 200 or 500 femtosecond or what? Femtosecond means 1 femtosecond or what?
100 picosecond to 1 femtosecond, something.
1 femtosecond? 1?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
That possible?
In BRC, it was there, sir. Like it was written that 100 picosecond to few femtosecond it was written.
Few means that would be 200 femtosecond or above.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 100 femtosecond.
Femtosecond, because that would be, I mean, very difficult to, I mean,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
stabilization, I mean,
Yes,
for that kind of time resolution,
100 femtosecond, sir. Like
Yeah,
10 to the minus 12 to 10 to the minus 13.
100 femtosecond and above, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
So, in your TCSPC, what was the time resolution for TCSPC's technique?
It is from few picosecond to microsecond, sir.
Yeah,
Micro-
few means again, that would be 1 picosecond or 100, 200 picosecond.
100 picosecond to microsecond, sir. It was there.
What is the limitation and what limits that resolution here in TCSPC? Why we are not able to do the lifetime measurement in femtosecond here in TCSPC technique? What limits that thing? What prevents us to do that?
Actually, in TCSPC method, that controlled, there is a accurately it measures the time lag of that excited state molecule. So during that means what happens in when we move to femtosecond, the molecule suddenly deactivates, so that time limit becomes so less, so that cannot be done by using TCSPC method, sir. Means that limit tends to nearly zero in that case.
So you say that the molecule itself is a time. I mean that it's controlling the time, or it's the
No, sir. Molecule is not.
the technique. The technique has the time limitation, right?
Yes, sir. Technique has time
Limitation
limitation.
is- the technique is having the limitation. What?
Yes, sir.
What is
Yes,
that
sir.
limitation?
Actually, I don't know that much specifically.
Okay. No, the picosecond, for doing that actually picosecond or femtosecond, you need the time resolution like in that photomultiplier tube.
Yes,
Should
sir.
have that kind of time
Yes, sir.
resolution. So the photomultiplier tube itself you are using the
Yes, sir.
detector as a detector.
Yes,
So
sir.
it should not resolve less than 200, 300 picosecond.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Or even if you take the MCP, multi-channel plate.
Multi-channel house, sir.
But there in of convergent technique, you're not doing that. You're doing the pump probe technique there, right? Pump
Yes, sir.
probe.
Yes,
So,
sir. Yes, sir.
so that is, I mean, finally you are using detector, but that has nothing to do with that actually time resolution. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's not limiting. I mean, photomultiplier tube or the MCP is not limiting the time resolution in pump pro technique. But here in
Yes.
TCS, we see the photomultiplier tube itself is a limiter. I mean, that is limiting the time resolution.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, uh,
Shuraj,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you could stop presenting and unmute others if they have any questions they can ask.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, sir.
You can just stop presenting.
Stop presenting, sir. Okay.
Yeah, you can come and you can just unmute others.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any participant having any question?
Hello, Shuraj.
Sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
he is
Just
Dr.
I would,
Suresh Kumar.
Yes, sir. Yes,
He,
sir.
just I would like to know about quantum field determination. So, have
Yes,
you
sir.
determined the quantum field, that is absolute quantum field measurement or relative quantum field measurement?
Sir, in solvent mixture, I have estimated the relative quantum yield.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
in pure solvent, I have calculated the absolute quantum yield with the help of that formula, and also I have used a reference sample for that also.
So, which was the reference you used?
That was its name was given in my slide, sir. That is my work done by my guide. In one of my guide, pentanthal molecule only there. In external solvent, it's that molecule. I am also having that molecule, so I used that molecule as a reference sample. Its name is it is a pentanthal derivative only.
So, how to decide the reference molecule for the determination of relative quantum field? How do you know that? How did you know that you have to select that
No, no,
molecule for the
no.
determination?
In absolute quantum field, I have used a reference molecule. In relative quantum field, I have not used a reference molecule, sir. Relative quantum field I have measured in solid mixture only. Because this Benjantron derivative already I am having that molecule with me during my
no.
experiment.
No, what sir is asking, on what basis you selected that particular molecule to
As a
calculate
reference.
quantum yield? Yeah, as a
Actually,
reference.
actually that molecule was available with me so that I can measure it absorptivity and everything, its concentration and other things. That's why I have used that molecule. And also in literature, it was already calculated value. So that's why I have taken. Because while calculating the quantum yield, I need absorptivity and as well as fluorescence intensity of reference sample also. So already I was having with this, and also in literature it was published already its value. So that's why I have used that molecule.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any
Suraj,
other questions? Anyone having? Any other questions? Any other participant? Okay, so if there are no other questions, let us thank, Dr. Sivraj. Okay,
No,
so
thank
we
you,
could
sir.
pronounce you Doctor. Wow,
Thank you,
Dr.
thank you,
Sivraj.
sir.
So
Thank you,
because you
sir.
have presented nicely and you have published a lot of papers actually already, that more than half thesis is already published, right, in
Yes,
reputed journals. And the
thank,
presentation was nice, and then you have used different experimental techniques and then a lot of different molecules, and done different excited state processes, and then photophysical processes you have studied, you know. So,
yes,
but
sir.
overall, the presentation was also very good, and then there is no, we could recommend you for the PhD.
Thank you, sir.
For the PhD. Okay. So, Dr.
Thank you,
Sivraj,
sir.
thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you.
uh,
Thank you.
Congratulations, Yuvraj Nitwari.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I wholeheartedly thank Dr. Devi Deepan for accepting the invitation and cooperating with this. Sir, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah.
I would like to thank my guide,
Yeah.
Dr. B. Linkeshwar, and as well as Dr. Devdas Pant, and all faculties and my friends for
You're
joining me.
welcome.
Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you. So, okay. So,
Okay, sir, we will
yeah,
wind up
right.
this. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
fine.
very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations, sir. Sidlingi sir.
Yeah,
Oh,
congratulations. Yeah. And to Sivraj also, you know. So you
Yes,
already
sir.
doing some job there, right? I mean, you did it part-time, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
And you are there some lecturer or something
Yes, sir.
somewhere, right? In which
I
college?
am lecturer in Government Junior College, sir. Government Junior
Oh,
College
yes, sir.
in Bidar district.
Good. So
Yes.
now there you will get the promotion now soon. You will get promoted to the next level.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You as well as your supervisor will also get promoted now. I think he has also guided very good PhD students, you know. So
Yes, sir.
he will also get the promotion, you as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you for your.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sir.
You're welcome. Bye.
Okay. Congratulations, Suraj sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Sir, recording cut ಮಾಡಲಾ sir?
So,
You can stop record.
okay, sir.